25 investigates now, following up on the story of a DCF foster child at the center of a custody dispute that could send the 8-year-old American girl to live with her father in Guatemala. The concern raised by her former foster parents was that the father, who was twice deported, never had custody of the girl here in the U.S. Then his open criminal cases in Massachusetts came to light. You're looking at photos of the child blurred out with her foster parents. Right now, this is all tied up in federal court, and we should note DCF has yet to respond to 25 Investigates questions on this case. So we want to unpack this now a little bit more. Joining me live is retired First Juvenile Justice of Worcester Courts, Carol Erskine. Carol, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So as a retired judge who spent decades on the bench working juvenile cases, what stood out to you about another judge's order to place this child with her father in another country?
Well, what stood out to me about the order here is what was the consideration of the evidence and what was the process that they used? I mean, one of the major concerns here is that the juvenile court judge has vacated the order to transfer the child to Guatemala. And so you have to ask what was missing in that they ordered it the first time and then vacated it. It's very concerning as to what's happening, quietly in the juvenile court. What was the process, and it was in the best interest of the child.
And we should note in this, immigration saga that's been unfolding here, there have been parents deported and children reunited with them in native countries. These are parents who have raised their children all along, and that was not the instance here. So should DCF be confirming whether someone that they're sending a child to in another country has any type of criminal record or history of any charges?
Well, I would say yes to that. In Massachusetts, state-involved parental custody cases by law allow for consideration of criminal convictions, police reports, arrests, pending charges, and that is especially if they bear on the safety of the child. So in this case, DCF should be discussing and disclosing and evaluating the charges of assault and battery, dangerous weapon, and the criminal charges of drug trafficking to determine whether there's a potential impact on the safety of the child. It absolutely has to be evaluated.
And is that something then that DCF, Carol, would bring to a judge's attention?
These should be brought to a judge's attention. Judges, by case law, judges can consider this information and they need to analyze it to see what the impact is on the child. But it is always part of the consideration in care and protection cases as to whether or not it comes into evidence and how they will weigh it in the evidence.
So, Carol, 25 Investigates reported the father was 29 years old when this child was born, the biological mother 15. As a judge, would this be a concern to you, even though this relationship was seemingly never investigated and he faces no criminal charges in connection to that relationship that we know of?
Yeah, this is very concerning to me because anytime you're dealing with a 29-year-old who fathers a child with a 15-year-old, you have to raise concerns about whether there's exploitation or the balance of power issues. The other concern here is whether or not anybody even looked at other things other than the age difference, which is considerable, to determine whether there was coercion or whether there were other issues like mental health issues that would have impacted a 15-year-old vulnerable child. This, to me, is something that the juvenile court and DCF should absolutely evaluate to determine what its impact is, again, which is what this is all about, the safety and protection of the child.
Right. Raise a lot of important points here, and we're going to continue to follow the track of this child's destiny here as it's hung up in the courts. Retired Juvenile Justice Carol Erskine, thank you for your time.
Thanks. Thank you for having me.